A very good morning to you. Welcome back from that Throwback Thursday memory lane. You are watching UBC TV and we come to you live from Nile Avenue. And in case you're not in the country, we still have you covered because at least you can follow us online, and that is at UBC TV Uganda on X and at UBC Television Uganda on YouTube. And you can also visit the website. Take an opportunity and visit the website www.ubc.gov.ug. Now, landing you into matters current affairs, Honorable Medat Segona goes independent after NUP setback. Now, from DP to the DP block and now independent. And he is to run just like the past 15 years, he wants to come back as the representative of Busiro County East constituency in the August House. Now, I will definitely pose a question to my partner in crime regarding his 15 years of service, just as Honorable Sechikubo, who has served for 24 years. And this to me might sound as a paradox if I hear most of the parts of the opposition say that the president of Uganda has stayed in power so long. But at least before I engage Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono, who is with me in studio, let me just remind you of the campaign trail as of the second day of October 2025. And today we shall be having Bulira Frank Kabinga, that is from the Revolutionary People's Party, who will be at Luka. That's where his campaign shall take place. And looking at Chenjojo Fort Porto, we'll be having Kasibante Robert, National Peasants Party, and Mujisha Gregory Muntu Oyera will be in Mitoma Rubirizi for his campaign today, the 2nd of October 2025, and Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will be in Alebtong or 2K for his campaign today. Now, Honorable Mubarak Munyagwa will be in Iganga, or is supposed to be in Iganga, but as of yesterday or at the start of the week, he had stated that he would be in Busoga region come next week. But according to the Electoral Commission, he is supposed to be in Busoga region come this week. And Kamuli Buyende will be hosting Honorable Nandala Mafabi, and of course Bugweri Namutumba will be hosting Honorable Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, and Hoima Chikube will be hosting Mabirizi Joseph of the Conservative Party. So far, that's what the campaign trail looks like as of the second day of October 2025. If you're in any of these areas, you ought to listen to all these candidates so that you cast your vote with knowledge. As they say, knowledge is power. My name is Julie F. Nantava, and like I mentioned, I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. Robert, good morning.
A lovely morning to you, Julie, and our viewer. Thank you very much for waking up with us this lovely Thursday.
Yes, indeed. And I don't know what you think about this, but I see it as a paradox for a member of parliament who still wanted to run for another 5 years, who still wants to run for another 5 years, which will make it 20 in case he makes it to parliament. His counterparts like Honorable Sechikubo have been in parliament for 24 years, and in case they make it to parliament this time round, 24 plus 5, that will be still a good number of years. I find it such a paradox if the same members who have the idea of opposition in regards to mindset and not just party say that the president has been in power so long. But you have covered elections and campaigns for quite a long time, and I believe you have a perspective that could perhaps help shape and take away the paradox, make meaning out of it. What is your stake?
Well, thank you, Julie, and of course our viewer. One thing I want to tell you is politics has moved away from being a service to a profession.
You can say that again.
Politics has moved away from being a service where you want to serve your people, like in church. I'll use the Anglican church. They have what they call abakebezi, the ushers.
Right.
You know, I'll use ministry. Also pastors, now it's a profession. In many churches, people study and they become pastors, and the rest of their lives they're going to be pastors. But I'm talking about this for who minister in church. Those are not in those, you know. Now, politics has moved away into now a profession that someone enters politics for life. People no longer come to serve. Some no longer come to serve. They come to work. Like you apply to work in UBC. One contract ends, you pray to God that the other is renewed. You get it? Now, this issue of let me go, I've identified problems in my community. I think I'll be better to address these problems. Let me go and serve my people. That's why it's a do or die. These people are not stoning, are not having bubble artillery because they yearn to serve the people. They're doing this because they know it is all about money. It is a job. They are coming to work. It's not like we say ministry where someone volunteers to preach someone after work. At the evening, we have Mark Waduro. You find him on the street preaching the gospel or before coming to work. It is a service. Now, when politics stops being a service and it's a profession, and the bad thing, it is one of the most paying jobs in Uganda. You get it? It is one of the most paying jobs in Uganda. Therefore, it is a do or die, and it's something you must stay in. Now, also, honesty is something that the Lord deprived many of us. And self-examination.
Does he deprive us of it?
I want to tell you, many people will condemn something when they are not benefiting from it. But once they begin benefiting from it, that's why of recent I no longer condemn traffic officers for being corrupt. Because I noticed that many people on our roads, when you remove corruption in the traffic department and have stringent and strong enforcement, they won't drive. They'll just have to park their cars. They won't transport these goods. They'll just have, life will become very hard. So, we are not honest. Someone will just bring out issues and say he has been in power for this time, but he doesn't look at themselves. No wonder when we were growing up, my dad used to tell me, when you're pointing at someone, these other fingers are pointing at you. Right. So first examine yourself. He had a word he would tell us: if your head is made of glass, then do not throw stones at others. So now things are catching up. People are saying, but okay, so what do you stand for? If you stand for this, you don't have it. Second, there are a number of people I feel sorry for. Now, at one time I told people that we need to fight political prostitution in this country, whereby people must understand multi-party dispensation and understand what it means to be a member of the party. But greed is another challenge that we have. That people joined some political parties because they never went there because they liked these political parties, or they understood what these political parties stand for. But because they knew that these political parties, they would just use them as a vehicle to get them to parliament or to these positions.
Right.
Now, when the political parties have not gotten them to these positions, they are fighting the political parties. They are turning against the political parties.
Indeed.
But also briefly, I'll take a minute.
Right.
I want to first thank Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Yesterday, before he began his rallies,
yes,
he called the youth, because I've said on this very show that you, the candidate, you do so much in ensuring there is peace in this process. Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu called the youth and told them, we are going out. Please behave, don't drive recklessly, don't do this. I want to give him flowers.
I agree.
Because police had come out and shown that these are the challenges.
Evidence.
Now, that is what I told you. When the head speaks to these young boys, and you see and I witnessed a very big difference in his convoy. But on the contrary, I want to condemn Nandala Mafara. Police say, don't use the main road. There are feeder roads you can use. Now use these feeder roads to arrive at your final venue.
Destination.
He and his boys decided that for us to want the highway, we want the main road. And of course there was fracas that was erupting. But again, I want to give flowers to Uganda police and the commander of that very operation, or whatever it's called, that after noticing the situation would have gone out of hand, he didn't only behave professionally, but he used his sense of judgment and said, Yes, they have brought force and all that. Let's not follow, let's not tear gas, let's not let the situation run out of hand.
Right.
He let them go through. I want to thank them. So Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, President, flowers to you. The police that was in Uganda, flowers for you. We need such for the smooth sail of these campaigns.
True indeed. And with that being said, Robert did mention that the Lord has denied us as human beings of the gift of honesty, but I beg to differ, because indeed the grace is sufficient, and it is us who make the choice to be dishonest. So we either choose us or choose God. And when we choose us, many times, being that we are fickle as human beings, we see indeed the disorganization that we have in the world today, because we always choose us. But with that being said, indeed I join Robert in thanking Honorable Kyagulanyi. That was very, very, very beautiful to watch, and we look forward to more as such in the name of peace as these campaigns take place. Robert, what do we have on the local scene today?
Well, we begin with campaigns, definitely, where the NRM presidential candidate Yoweri Kaguta Museveni took his campaign to the Lang'o sub-region, addressing rallies in Amolata and Dokolo district. By 10 a.m., Amolata Secondary School playground was already filled with NRM supporters eager to hear from their flag bearer. He later held his second rally in Lang'o sub-region in Dokolo district after an earlier one in Amolata. The president used the occasion to highlight his government's achievements and promised further investment in development and wealth creation initiatives. As the campaigns intensify, President Museveni is rallying Lang'o sub-region behind his re-election bid, banking on the record of peace, infrastructure, and economic transformation. The Forum for Democratic Change presidential candidate Nathan Nandala Mafabi promised sugarcane growers in Busoga that he is to eliminate middlemen so that the growers are able to benefit from the crop. While addressing residents of Nabitende during his presidential campaign in Iganga district, Mafabi also promised to make sure that Iganga Hospital is upgraded to a referral status. The group passed through Kaliro as the candidate held the rally in Namungware town, emphasized aspects in the FDC manifesto that aim at putting money in the pockets of people, like giving 100 million Uganda shillings per village every year. At Namawandala town, the presidential candidate said he will ensure that leaders at local council levels are paid. The mini rally at Nabitende attracted some good number of people to listen to the candidate who promised to eliminate middlemen in the sugarcane business. The president for Forum for Democratic Change Party, Patrick Oboy Amriat, popularized their candidate, saying people from Eastern region also need to have a person in the position of the president of Uganda. The candidate held his main rally in Iganga, accompanied by other flag bearers of the FDC ticket, where he was warmly welcomed by the crowd. Doctors at Mulago Hospital said they admit about 40 serious accident cases every day, most of them involving border riders. This was disclosed by Dr. Justin Okello, head of accident and emergency, warning that the cost of treatment often runs into millions of shillings, leaving many families struggling. Against this background, Stanbic Bank and Liberty Insurance and the Safe Border have launched a new motor coverage called Protect the Body. The Protect is aimed at making insurance more affordable for motorists who cannot afford comprehensive policies. Insurance penetration in Uganda remains below 1%, meaning most Ugandans are still unprotected against financial shocks. The Liberty Insurance reported that in the past 3 years alone, it has paid over 73 billion shillings in claims, a signal that insurance works when embraced. A border access to this insurance could reduce the burden of hospitals and protect families from falling into poverty. Well, that is a good move. but do really Ugandans appreciate and understand insurance?
That is a very pertinent question. Ugandans indeed.
Have you ever
For a
benefited
fact.
from your motor third party?
Have I ever been what?
Benefited?
Have I ever benefited?
Yeah, because motor third party
That's the other question indeed.
is supposed to ensure that third person who is not you, who is not a member of your family, that you've injured, they give, I think, in Uganda, a tune of about 1 million.
Yes.
That person can get treatment. But most of the times, I'm not a person who commits accidents so much, but most of the times, many Ugandans have never had value for their motor third party. Many people, you knock this person, you sort things out. When you decide to go for claims and all that, so that's why
the bureaucracy.
I think many of the only insurance policy I can talk about proudly is comprehensive. At least there, I've seen it work.
Right. And speaking of motor third party, I think I've seen it work once, with and that was many years back. With a friend of mine, the mom got an accident, and it's actually the third party that helped through the bills, the medical bills at that time. But I haven't seen it as common. That's the only example.
For me, in my lifetime, I've never seen it work.
That's the only example I've seen. But let's take a look at what we have on the foreign scene. And we're starting off with the Philippines that suffered a 6.9 magnitude earthquake. The Archdiocesan Shrine of Santa Rosa de Lima in Danbatayan, Cebu, suffered extensive damage after a 6.9 magnitude earthquake struck central Philippines late Tuesday, leaving at least 26 people dead. Now, footage shows piles of debris outside of the sanctuary, with large sections of the historic building visibly torn apart. Rubble was also scattered inside the monastery, where properties were destroyed. The shrine announced on social media that all masses have been suspended until further notice. Built in 1886, the shrine is considered the Philippines' first archdiocesan church dedicated to Saint Rosa of Lima. The powerful tremor hit near Bogo in the northern part of Cebu, and according to the Philippine National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, 26 fatalities and 147 injuries have been reported and been confirmed, with the death toll expected to rise. Now, authorities reported 22 buildings damaged across the region, and rescue operations continued overnight in Bogo and San Remigio through efforts that are being hampered by collapsed buildings and debris strewn street mark. And this is marked by a devastation left by a 6.9 magnitude earthquake that struck off the coast of Cebu province. Now, just looking at the drone footage that reveals the damage caused by this 6.9 magnitude earthquake, and indeed it now comes to about 69, at least 69 people reported dead in this earthquake. Drone footage, including filmed in Bogo City on Wednesday, shows buildings including McDonald's and a Jollibee reduced to rubble, with other structures across the city also damaged. And according to the Philippine Office of Civil Defense, at least 69 fatalities and 147 injuries have been confirmed, with the death toll expected indeed to rise. Sad, sad, sad indeed. Anyways, let's quickly move on. The U.S. Capitol stood against a dusky Washington sky on Tuesday as lawmakers failed to reach an agreement on a funding bill, setting the stage for the federal government's first shutdown in nearly 7 years. Footage shows the dome illuminated in the evening while security personnel guard the complex during the tense deliberations. The Republican-led proposal, requiring 60 votes to advance, failed twice, with 55 in favor and 45 against. With no deal reached, government operations began shutting down at midnight Wednesday. Now, the shutdown halts many federal functions and is expected to follow hundreds of thousands of workers, recalling the record 35-day closure during Donald Trump's presidency in 2018 to 2019. And speaking to reporters on Tuesday evening, President Trump blamed Democrats for the deadlock, warning that a shutdown would mean laying off a lot of people that are going to be affected. He argued that a lot of good can come down from shutdowns, suggesting the pause could be used to get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want, quote unquote, and there'd be Democrat things. Democrats accused Republicans of blocking compromise over healthcare and social spending. Now, coming back to the continent, Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré welcomed Niger's transitional president, General Abdourahmane Tiani, to Ouagadougou on Wednesday for strategic talks. Footage shows Tiani's plane arriving at the airport, where he is received by the Burkinabe leader. The presidents can later be seen engaged in discussions alongside their respective delegations. And during their meeting, the leaders reportedly discussed security, regional cooperation and development under the framework of the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, while also exploring ways to strengthen coordination among member states. Now, this visit marks General Tiani's second trip to Burkina Faso since taking power in July 2023. An interesting image, that is. The visit followed Tiani's official trip to Mali a day earlier, where he held talks with Malian leader Assimi Goïta. Tiani's meetings with Traoré and Goïta come after Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso announced their intention to establish a regional parliament and a unified judicial body, the Alliance of Sahel States Criminal and Human Rights Court, alongside their formal withdrawal from the International Criminal Court, that is the ICC. Interesting footage, I must say, very interesting footage to look at. The Malian president is one that was missing there.
Now, the way Ibrahim Traoré feels himself,
yes,
you see, he's one president who always have a pistol. I think the only time I saw him without his pistol, like on TV, of course, the national,
yes,
not saying, was when he was meeting Vladimir Putin of Russia. That is when he didn't carry his pistol, but as a head of state,
indeed,
I find
there
it funny.
is.
He will always have his pistol with him, and you see, he walks with that vibe of being young, energetic and healthy, and of course bring those reforms that many Western countries would not want.
And their attire also speaks a lot.
Also, yes, the way where they put their ranks.
Yes. Anyways, let's have a look at what we have in the dailies very quickly.
Well, we begin with a new vision this morning. Now, in the new vision this morning, a government to recruit 2,000 medics, each regional referral hospital to get, that is 38 consultants. Wow.
Opportunity.
And now there are over 110 tenders for you in the new vision. So interest yourself there. Ask the commission of URA. Also, there is that column for you in the new vision. Now, Chagula emotes for regional development hubs, and Mafabi promises better pay for sugarcane growers. Museveni in Amolata, and also we still see more regarding issues regarding borders. Now, quickly to the Daily Monitor this morning. In the Daily Monitor, Alien Skin arrested. Oh, this man has also seen things. And World Bank wants government to rise income tax to 35%. What Uganda wants in 2026. Now they look at various regions here. We have Bugisu, Kigezi, Ankole, Bunyoro, Renzori, and Toro. What do they want? So the Daily Monitor is able to get you some of that. Now interest yourself, get a copy, and you have the details of these stories and more.
Yes, indeed. And that brings us to the end of what we have in the dailies. Time to take a break as you enjoy some of that music. Now, it's before we do that, we do have the Daily Nation on there, and the headline there is milking taxpayers dry, and shadowy firms set for 17 billion payout. That is a headline in the Daily Nation. Also, 136 newborns dead amid Kiambu doctors strike. Can you imagine? Anyways, striking dons defy salary freeze threat. Now, quickly looking at the Citizen, revealed implications of over-reliance on two banks. That is a headline on the Citizen. And looking at Samia's plan, she says that my plan to boost industrial development in Kilimanjaro region, that is on her campaign trail. Also, ATCL announces 173 jobs in expansion drive, and missed opportunity as beekeepers global meeting moved to UAE. It's exactly 7 a.m. Good morning, Uganda. Now, the throwback music that started the show was throwback music that is relatable to our old folks, probably our parents and grandparents. Now, the throwback music that is going to play now is probably the one that is more relatable to my generation. I don't know if Trouble relates to the song that is going to play, but Tiny Temper with Kelly Rowland, Invincible is the name of the song.
Live from
Good morning to you. Welcome back from that Throwback Thursday memory lane. You are watching UBC TV and we come to you live from Nile Avenue. And in case you're not in the country, we still have you covered because at least you can follow us online, and that is at UBC TV Uganda on X and at UBC Television Uganda on YouTube. And you can also visit the website. Take an opportunity and visit the website www.ubc.go.ug. Now, landing you into matters current affairs, Honorable Medat Segona goes independent after NUP setback. Now, from DP to the DP block and now independent. And he is to run just like the past 15 years, he wants to come back as the representative of Busiro County East constituency in the August House. Now, I will definitely pose a question to my partner in crime regarding his 15 years of service, just as Honorable Sechikubo, who has served for 24 years. And this to me might sound as a paradox if I hear most of the parts of the opposition say that the president of Uganda has stayed in power so long. But at least before I engage Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, who is with me in studio, let me just remind you of the campaign trail as of the second day of October 2025. And today we shall be having Bulira Frank Kabinga, that is from the Revolutionary People's Party, who will be at Luka. That's where his campaign shall take place. And looking at Chenjojo Fort Porto, we'll be having Kasibante Robert, National Peasants Party, and Mujisha Gregory Muntu Oyera will be in Mitoma Rubirizi for his campaign today, the 2nd of October 2025, and Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will be in Aleptong or 2K for his campaign today. Now, Honorable Mubarak Munyagwa will be in Iganga, or is supposed to be in Iganga, but as of yesterday or at the start of the week, he had stated that he would be in Busoga region come next week. But according to the Electoral Commission, he is supposed to be in Busoga region come this week. And Kamuli Buyende will be hosting Honorable Nandala Mafabi, and of course Bugweri Namutumba will be hosting Honorable Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, and Hoi Machikube will be hosting Mabirizi Joseph of the Conservative Party. So far, that's what the campaign trail looks like as of the second day of October 2025. If you're in any of these areas, you ought to listen to all these candidates so that you cast your vote with knowledge. As they say, knowledge is power. My name is Julie F. Nantaba, and like I mentioned, I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. Robert, good morning.
A lovely morning to you, Julie, and our viewer. Thank you very much for waking up with us this lovely Thursday.
Yes, indeed. And I don't know what you think about this, but I see it as a paradox for a member of parliament who still wanted to run for another 5 years, who still wants to run for another 5 years, which will make it 20 in case he makes it to parliament. His counterparts like Honorable Sechikubo have been in parliament for 24 years, and in case they make it to parliament this time round, 24 plus 5, that will be still a good number of years. I find it such a paradox if the same members who have the idea of opposition in regards to mindset and not just party say that the president has been in power so long, but you have covered elections and campaigns for quite a long time, and I believe you have a perspective that could perhaps help shape and take away the paradox and make meaning out of it. What is your stake?
Well, thank you, Julian. Of course, our viewer. One thing I want to tell you is politics has moved away from being a service to a profession.
You can say that again.
Politics has moved away from being a service where you want to serve your people, like in church. I'll use the Anglican church. They have what they call abakebezi, the ushers.
Right.
You know, I'll use ministry. Also pastors, now it's a profession. In many churches, people study and they become pastors, and the rest of their lives they're going to be pastors. But I'm talking about these people who minister in church. Those are...
This is Good Morning Uganda.